have grabbed it. Thank you. When your normal support community can't do that for you. And I'm not saying that it necessarily is tied to the religious aspect of it, though for some and for many it probably is, but I think it's having a group of people that you meet with regularly, where you are in a vulnerable space with regularly. I think that is what helps people carry their grief while they're in the depths of it and while they are learning to cope with it. They talk about how grief is a process. It's like there's stages of grief, and that drives me crazy because that implies that there's an end. It implies that you start at a certain point and you go through certain steps and then you complete the process and it's over. And that is not anybody's experience that I have ever seen, and certainly not mine. But to me, grief is just the response that you have when you lose someone that you care for, usually through death, but it can be through other ways. If you had to cut off contact from a toxic family member, you can still grieve that loss. If somebody has cut contact with you, you can grieve that loss, but certainly in most cases, it's when somebody dies. But I don't want to say there's a right way and a wrong way to grieve, because that's not true, but there's a healthy way and an unhealthy way to grieve. And that can be different for every individual. I think the unhealthy thing to do is to not grieve, or to deny it, or to hold on to the person too tightly. I see a lot of people that act as though that person is not gone in some ways. And I don't think that that's a very healthy way to grieve, because you cannot feel and process your pain and your grief and all the other feelings that come with it if you're still acting like they're there. Simultaneously, I've seen people go through a mourning process and then never speak of the lost loved one again. And I don't think that that's very healthy either. You can't pretend that they're totally gone. So somewhere in the middle, I think, for me anyway, is what seems to work. And I think what helps a lot is acknowledging all of the feelings that come along with loss, recognizing that it's not a process, there's not a time limit. You'll keep going through it over and over again. Somebody else will die, and it'll probably bring up all the pain from all the previous deaths. And all of that is normal and okay. And as long as you are going through it and processing the feelings and emotions and sitting with them and giving them their space and time to tell you what they need to tell you, that is a healthy way to grieve, to allow it to happen and to do it in a safe space where it's not going to wreck your life or somebody else's life. So that's why I wanted to create this, a safe space where we can talk about our losses and what comes with that. So a lot of times what comes with loss is regret. You know, usually when you hear of someone's death, you say, oh, I wish I had said something to that person, or I wish I hadn't said something to that person. Maybe said something that you regret. Or it could be, I wish I had reached out more. I wish I had saw them more often. Or it could be somebody that you saw every day and you regret that you didn't get to go on the trip with them that you had planned, or you didn't get to go out to dinner, or you regret that you can't celebrate the next anniversary with them, or whatever it might be. There's also a lot of love that comes with grief. There's a TV show on Netflix called WandaVision. It's from the Marvel universe. You don't really need to know anything about it other than in it, the main character, Wanda, grieves in like the most unhealthy way I have ever seen. She uses her supernatural powers to override the free will of an entire town and create a fantasy world where the man that she loved who died can exist again, and they can have the children that they never had, and they can live the life that they never had. And that to me is just like the worst possible thing. Fortunately, we don't have supernatural powers. We can't go that far, but she hurt so many other people in that process because she was not allowing herself to recognize that the man she loved was gone. She wasn't going to have those things, and to just feel it. In WandaVision, there is a moment where one of the characters says, "What is grief if not love persevering?" And that was one of those special moments where I feel like I'm watching a stupid TV show and there's this little nugget of enduring wisdom. And I just thought it was great, because that is what grief is. It's love. That's why it hurts so much. So you have grief, you have the pain of loss, you have all this love, you have all these regrets that you might feel. It's so complicated and there's so much to it, and it's kind of hard to untie that knot. So what we're going to do is I'm going to pass around these little strips of paper and some pens, and you can write on your paper. You take as many as you need. It can be the name of the person, somebody in your life who has died that you were grieving. It can be something that you wish you had said to that person and didn't. It can be an apology to that person for something you did say or do. It can be something that has happened in your life that is joyful that you wish you could share with them. It can be anything you want. It could be nothing. You don't have to write anything down. You can just keep it silently in your mind if you want. After you're done writing them down, we're going to come up here one by one, and you're going to set it on fire, and you're going to put it in here so we don't burn down the church. And that is a way to kind of literally put down your feelings of grief and loss and joy and sadness and happiness and memory, and give it its space and time, and then release it. I'm not saying you have to let go of the person or the memories, but just the weight of it on you is what we're trying to alleviate a little bit. So I'm going to send these around, and you don't have to say anything out loud. You don't have to share anything if you don't want to. If you want to, if that helps your process, go for it. And for the people watching the live stream, you can do this at home. All you need is a candle and some paper and some sort of fireproof vessel so that you don't burn down your home. You ready? I mean, this is very cathartic, just the point. Earth, cure me. Earth, receive my woe. Rock, strengthen me. Rock, receive my weakness. Rain, wash my sadness away. Rain, receive my doubt. Sun, make sweet my song. Sun, receive the anger from my heart. This church, this sacred circle, is a place of healing, exploration, growth, support, and love. For us to continue in these endeavors, we all must contribute. So I will pass around the offering bowl and take a collection that will help sustain Channing Church and its ministries. I'm also going to take a second collection afterwards for Rockland Holiday Magic. This year they're asking again for monetary donations. So I figured if anybody is able and willing to contribute, I would take a small collection up and send it to them from Channing Church. So the first one's for us, and the second one will be for Rockland Holiday Magic. You live so far away.
This one's for us.
Yes, this one's for us. This one's for Rockland Holiday Magic.
You know this one was done.
Sorry. I meant to put it in my email and I forgot. We meant actually to do it last week and forgot. What last week would have been the better week. All right, we're going to extinguish our chalice now. I didn't change this one. It's the same one as always. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, or the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. When despair for the world grows in me, and I wake in the night at the least sound in fear of what my life and my children's lives may be, I go and lie down where the wood drake rests in his beauty on the water, and the great heron feeds. I come into the peace of wild things who do not tax their lives with forethought of grief. I come into the presence of still water, and I feel above me the day-blind stars waiting with their light. For a time, I rest in the grace of the world, and I am free. Thank you, everybody. Games and coloring and coffee. Thank you all.